fine.
It's enough.
Give it to the whole room. Just give it to the whole room.
Can I get you a mask?
Kids are coming. When I follow him by telly or only have to be right. When the kids are coming, I follow him by telly Zoom or only by.
You decide.
Okay, my idea.
Right, no problem. You decide.
Welcome everybody. We would like to take our seats so that we can get started. Thank you. 51st Annual Graduation Ceremony. I'd like to ask everyone to rise for our tikva. The Star Spangled Banner, followed by recital of Tehillim and Tefillah L'Shalom Hamdina.
Shirama Mimakim Bertiharanai. Arnai Shama Kuli Tiana Nakashgola, Takuranai. Yima Vanatish Moriah Aranai, Yama. Kim Khasti Khalaman, Tivare. Kivitana Kiftana Shivivaro, Okhoti. Nashana Mishami Maboke Shami, Maboke. Yachel Shaharnai, Kimanai Chased, or Name of Du. Brief day shall be called on one time.
Avinu Shabashamayim, Suri Svel V'Olam, Barich Eridina Yisrael, Reshit Michaku Latine, Hagein Alecha Be'avracha Secha, Ufros Alech Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha B'Mitzal Rashecha, Sarah Aviotzea, B'Takni Ba'ita Tavarim Lecha, Chazik Eidem Mibnei Eretz Kodshekim, Van Chilin Elohini Shabbat Terni Tzachum Tatri, V'Gatata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Yoshvel, Ve'erachenu Kol Be'Yisrael, בתורה משה עבדך, ואם יהיה מדרכך, בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם ייקחך. והביאך אדוני אלוהינו, אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך, וירישתה, וייטיבך בימיך באבותיך. ויחל לבנינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולשמור כל דברי תורתך, ושלח לנו מהרה, בן דוד משיח צדקך, לגדול מחלקי כי תשועתך. ובא בהדר ואונך על כל יושבי תבל ארצך. ויאמר כל אשר נשמע בעליו, אדוני אלוהי ישראל, מלך מלכותו בכל משלה אמיץ.
Please be seated. I'd like to call up Leah Moskowitz, Chairman of our board, to offer a reading.
Good evening. I am Leah Moskowitz, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and it is my honor to welcome you to Moriah's 51st graduation. This graduating class is special both to me personally and to Moriah. For my family, like so many others here tonight, actually 24 of us are graduating our youngest child. Not only did our children grow up here, but our families did too. When we started at Moriah, we were babies, and so were our children. And now, after countless Moriah events, we are here at the culmination of our respective Moriah careers. As William said to Rebecca in the train episode of This Is Us, the way I see it, if something makes you sad when it ends, it must have been pretty wonderful when it was happening. On behalf of all of us, I'd like to say thank you to the administration, staff, and of course, all of the teachers who helped our families reach this point. While all graduating classes are special, this one is unique in that some of these children are the first Moriah students to be on the campus for 11 years. Allow me to tell you a story. Way back in 2010, a group of parents were faced with a dilemma. They didn't have a spot in a local program to send their children to nursery for the upcoming school year. They approached Moriah and asked if they would consider starting a nursery program. At the same time, Moriah hired Laura Ditsha, a new early childhood director, who coincidentally had a daughter the same age as this group of children. A meeting took place and history was made. And now, what started as an initial group of 15 nursery students has grown into 4 twos classes and 3 full nurseries for next school year. The actions of a few individuals taking what seemingly was a small step created a lasting impact on Moriah and the entire community. And graduates, you have accomplished so much through small steps in your time here at Moriah. You got your first Sidurim and Kumashim. You learned about planets, created new inventions, and studied the importance of our oceans. You stepped up to middle school and studied your heritage. You celebrated your bar and bat mitzvahs. You won hockey, basketball, and Torah Bowl championships. You interviewed Holocaust survivors. You made lifelong friends. And while much of your middle school experience was tainted by COVID restrictions, you made the most of it and were able to close out this year with all the fun and privileges of 8th grade. You recently returned from an incredibly fun and educational trip to Washington. You had a blast at Hershey Park. You had graduation dinner, and we are all here celebrating you tonight. Whether you have been at Moriah since nursery or joined the grades somewhere along the way, you are now the Moriah class of 2022. You have grown and matured in ways that are visible to the eye and ways that may only be known to your parents. You have faced challenges individually and as a group and have risen to the occasion. You became stronger people and learned how to deal with tough situations. And so graduates, while today is about you and your accomplishments, you must always remember that your actions today and going forward will have lasting effects for many years. Mahatma Gandhi may have said it best, Be the change you wish to see in the world. And so, as you embark on the next chapter of your education and growth, go out and find your community and play an active role in its success. Mazel tov, class of 2022. And now it is my honor to introduce our head of school, Rabbi Daniel Alter.
Graduates, you have worked very hard for many years to reach this point and should be very proud of yourselves. Graduation is a time to reflect on past experiences, successes, failures, stories that make us laugh, lessons we've learned, and relationships that we've created. The bonds that you have created with each other and with your teachers during your formative years in Moriah will last forever. You now hold a shared past that has shaped who you are to this day. But graduation also poses an opportunity to dream about the future. How will you build upon your growth moving forward? What will your dreams and aspirations look like? And how will they be shaped by who you have become to date at Moriah? Most importantly, what impact will you make on those around you? How will you make the world a better place? This is the message I would like to leave with you tonight. I'd like to share a story that I read recently. This past Pesach, President Isaac Herzog paid a visit to Rabbi Beryl Wein. Rabbi Wein, one of probably the most famous rabbis alive today, has achieved an incredible amount in his life. And he told the president the following story. When he was 12 years old, back in 1946, the president's grandfather, Rabbi Herzog, who was the Ashkenazi chief rabbi, first of Palestine and then of Israel, came to visit Chicago, which is where Rabbi Wein was from. He visited the local day school and told the students about a recent visit he had had with the Pope. Remember, this was right after the Holocaust. During the Holocaust, thousands of Jewish children were sent to Catholic monasteries to hide from the Nazis. Rabbi Herzog was visiting with the Pope, demanding that these children now be returned. The Pope was adamant in his refusal. He claimed that once a young child is baptized, he must remain a Christian forever. Continued fighting and pleading had no impact. Telling this short story to the children, Rabbi Herzog paused, put his head down, and started crying. To quote Rabbi Wein, at that moment, 2,000 years of our exile and persecution poured out of him. All the young Americans stood in stunned amazement. But then the rabbi looked up and said, I cannot do anything more for these children. But you, what do you intend to do for the Jewish nation? What do you intend to do to revitalize our people? After he was done talking, the students approached Rabbi Herzog one by one to shake his hand, and he repeated the same message individually to each child, making sure that they understood what he had said. Many, many years later, Rabbi Wein, telling this story, was able to reflect back on that moment. And he noted that many of the young children in that room grew up to make a real difference in the world. He said that some of them established educational institutions, others established large Jewish organizations. Many made Aliyah, where they supported the development of our homeland. So many of them remembered the powerful words of Rabbi Herzog. Rabbi Wein himself took this message to heart and became a great leader of the Jewish people. And now it's time, the opportunity for you guys to ask, what are your dreams for the future? How will you make a difference? In the Parsha, we're going to read this Shabbat, Parashat Ba'alotcha. There's an interesting episode where Yitro tells his son-in-law, Moshe, it's time for me to go back to Midian. Why in the world would you want to go back to Midian now? He's just joined the people who saw miracles that took them out of Egypt, who are days away, presumably, from entering the land of Israel, that's what they thought at the time, who have a direct connection and relationship to Hashem. Does it make any sense that he would want to leave now? The Ben Ish Chai explains this story in the following manner. He said that if you look at Yitro's background, he dedicated his life to doing for others. After all, he was a leader back home. He was the Kohen of Midian. Upon arriving in the desert to join the Jewish people, he suddenly finds himself among giants. Think about it. Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron HaKohen, Yehoshua, the Zakanim, the list goes on. And he says, why do they need me? What can I do for them at this point in time? And that's why he says to Moshe, Vayomer Elav Lo Elech, he says, I'm going to go with you. Ki artzi velo el molati elech. I'm going to go back to my homeland. Why? Because I can have more of an impact there. I want to go back to my home, to my birthplace, where I can help and guide people. Even if it might be less exciting than moving into the land of Israel with you. And that, says the Ben Ish Chai, is how you understand the next line. What's Moshe's response in trying to convince him? Moshe says, Vayomer al na tazov otanu, don't leave us. Ki al ken yadata chalutena b'midbar vayita lanu le'inayim. Because you understand our encampments in the desert, and you will serve as eyes for us. Hard to understand. What does that mean? So Ben Ish Chai's explanation makes a lot of sense. The argument is, Moshe is telling him, you do make a difference here. You came from an outside perspective, you've already impacted with plans about how we should organize ourselves. You have a wider vision and perspective that is critical to us. Don't think you don't matter. Now what's the end of the story? You'll see when we read this Shabbat, we don't really know. The pasuk is not clear. Did Yisro go with him? Did he go back? We don't know. But regardless, I think the sentiment of Yitro is very important. The Jewish people, at this point in time, are front and center on the world stage. The entire planet is talking about them and the miracles that occurred for them. They're about to enter a promised land. Yet Yitro feels a need to go back home. Why? Because he says to himself, I can make more of a difference there. Even though he's going to give up the fame and the glory of being the father-in-law of the greatest man in the world at that time. Why? Because he can help more people at home. How many of us would make that choice? I'll use a contemporary example. Would any of you give up an opportunity to watch the Colorado Avs beat the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup just so you can make a difference somewhere else or help someone in need? So Yitro really becomes the model for us of a man who sees his purpose in life in his ability to help others and to give to others. Graduates, we're very proud of each and every one of today. When I ask about your dreams, it's because I know that this is a question that you will consider and contemplate. On behalf of all your teachers at Moriah, I look forward to watching you grow and develop as we get to watch you execute on your dreams and make the world a better place as a result. Congratulations. I'd now like to call upon Mark Dweck, the first of our past speakers.
Bereshut, Rabbi Alter, Mrs. Boeing, Mrs. Heller, Rebbe, and teachers. Thank you for giving me the honor of addressing you tonight. First, and most importantly, I'd like to say thank you to the parents and families. You are the ones who have literally and figuratively brought us to where we are today, our Moriah School graduation.
We are so fortunate to have you and appreciate that you gave us the opportunity to be taught by the very best.
By teachers like Maureen, who not only taught Hebrew enthusiastically, but taught us to have enthusiasm for Midianite spread. Like Mrs. Schwartz, whose passion for teaching is unending. Like Mrs. Knoll, who is available to teach us science every period of the day, not just during our class. Like Rabbi Verman, who never stopped trying to engage us while keeping the level of scholarship high. Like Rabbi Levinson, who is full of will. Like the amazing Rabbi Kasus Marada Ashras,
The congregation of Avat Torah, who we were lucky to have as a teacher in 6th grade. And of course, Mrs. Boyne, who makes it her mission every day to make sure she knows each and every one of us as individuals and looks out for us all. And Mrs. Rodenberg, who has been there for everyone with a smile on her face despite suffering a tremendous loss of her own. And Mrs. Kastner, and Mrs. Friedman, and Rabbi E, and Ms. Sable, and all of our many other outstanding and dedicated Rebbeim and teachers. We thank you.
the sound of lively Hebrew music that welcomed us.
We approached the front door, and I admired the Moriah banners at the entrance that declare, "Inspiring Tomorrow's Leaders."
For this class, I think an especially appropriate additional banner would read, "Nurturing Respectful Students." Because this class
is a wonderful group, a class that truly displays Derech Eretz Karmal Torah. Each student seated can look to the seat to the left
and look to the seat to the right and know that next to them is a good-natured and respectful kid. Here, there are boys who rush to share their notes with the whole grade before Rabbi Nipson Tefillah.
They are boys who run to your house after school because they notice that you left your tefillin and want to return it immediately. They are the
entire grade of boys who happily and excitedly walked in the freezing rain on Shabbat morning for a COVID-restricted outdoor minyan when one of us was reading the Torah for the very first time
at his bar mitzvah. When our especially gifted, undefeated 8th grade boys hockey team has a game, we all talk about it for days, review their stats, and can't wait to be there with them.
On the sidelines to cheer them on. And when our incredibly skilled girls basketball team comes out with yet another 82-17 win, we all share in the joy. And even on the otherwise mundane day that the Torah team had an online competition,
the entire class of boys rushed into the tournament room in excitement and camaraderie at the championship. Another example from a couple of weeks ago. After an especially productive last period in our class in which Rabbi E took us outside to play softball, we lost track of time. We were a few minutes late to dismissal, and I didn't even walk outside yet to see that I missed my bus before a classmate had already secured me a ride home. And of course, let's not forget that seated here are Tomchei Shabbat volunteers. This
is the exceptional class of Moriah, class of 2022.
Not every moment of our Moriah days were unbridled happy team championships. This is real life, and there were challenges. Some moved homes,
some had health worries, some family dynamics shifted, and everyone had COVID restrictions to varying degrees. We are grateful that during that time our classmates were who they were, kind, respectful, and looking out for each other, each full of midot and unassuming lists. I am grateful that I will always have this great class of 2022 for support, guidance, and friendship. This week's Parashat is Ba'alotecha. In Ba'alotecha, Bnei Israel depart from Har Sinai. This was a significant change as they had grown accustomed to the desert encampment. While living in the desert, they had built the Mishkan and received the Torah and the Mitzvot. It was now time to move on, to continue their journey to Israel. We later learned that Bnei Israel excessively indulged in feelings of hesitancy, which later led to the Chet HaMeraglim before ultimately reaching the destined Eretz Yisrael.
This year, in Mrs. Schwartz's history class, we learned in depth about President Abraham Lincoln. There is a monument on West Englewood Avenue near
East Palisades in town with an excerpt from Lincoln's Cooper Union address given before he became president. It reads, "Let us have faith that right makes might, and in that faith let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it." Well, please allow me to be mefaresh on Lincoln's words. Moriah has given us a strong moral, academic, and Torah education, a foundation which is righteous. We are ready to confidently and assuredly move on to the next stage of our lives, go on our own next paths, and pursue our own academic passions, Be'ezrat Hashem. To my friends, the graduating class of the Moriah School Yocheved Orba Campus class of 2022, Chazak Ubaruch.
With God, Rabbi Alter, Mrs. Boyd, Mrs. Heller, teachers, my fellow graduates, and all the guests gathered here today. I'm honored to be speaking on behalf of the Moriah School graduating class of 2022. When I transferred into Moriah, I never thought I would be fortunate enough to have this opportunity. Moriah, its faculty, and my classmates have welcomed me into the Moriah family with open arms, and for that I am incredibly grateful. Even though my time at Moriah has been relatively short, I have so many fond memories. With the many amazing trips, including Greenkill, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and Hershey Park. I'll miss playing football with my classmates at recess, punchball with Rabbi E, Tetris on the Moriah Chromebooks, and most of all, I'll miss being in such close proximity to Pliables and being able to get on my way to and from school. The theme of our yearbook is building our future. In order to help us build our future, Moriah has taught us indispensable lessons through their 5 foundations of respect, responsibility, honesty, perseverance, and consideration. In terms of respect and consideration, Moriah has taught us to respect and be considerate of everyone and their beliefs, even when they're different and have different opinions than you. In regard to responsibility, with each passing grade, Moriah gave us new responsibilities that have helped ingrain this important life skill, and along with it, a sense of self-worth in us. We also have taken upon ourselves the responsibility of helping out our communities through the various blessed opportunities Moriah provides us with. Regarding honesty, ever since my first day, it has been apparent to me that Moriah fosters a culture of honesty, where being true to yourself and admitting mistakes is encouraged. And lastly, the perseverance of the class of 2022 is extremely apparent. Our middle school experience was very different than anything we could have envisioned. We persevered through a pandemic and all the unique challenges presented, taking classes over Zoom, socializing in masks, and having the dates and plans of our bar and bat mitzvahs changed multiple times. Following a major turning point in World War II, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill famously remarked, "Now this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning." I believe this quote epitomizes right where the graduating class of 2022 is today. We are closing this chapter in our lives, but Moriah has helped us lay the building blocks for our future. We will certainly take with us the invaluable lessons we have learned as we begin the next chapter in our lives. When I began to think about what I wanted to talk about for this speech, I thought about the derivation of the name of our school, Moriah. Biblically referred to as Har Moriah, Moriah derives its name from a mountain that is one of the holiest sites in Jewish history. Most notably, Har Moriah served as the location for Akedat Yitzhak, and is later the mountain in Jerusalem on which the Beit HaMikdash was built. Har Moriah is regarded as the holiest location in Judaism, and even today remains at the center of our ancestral history. Millions of people visit the Kotel each year just to get as close as they possibly can to the site of the everlasting Shekhinah. Har Moriah has had a lasting impact on the Jewish nation, and will always be a significant place in our history from which we cherish the values we learned and yearn to return to. To my fellow graduates and myself, the Moriah School has become a microcosm of its namesake, as it will always be a cherished place that we have learned invaluable lessons from that we can't wait to visit in the near future. My final message to my fellow graduates: we share so many memories with each other. As we embark on this next chapter of our lives and we go to different high schools, we will still be united by the years that we have shared in Moriah together. In our high schools, we will be faced with new, difficult challenges, but by using the foundations that Moriah has instilled within us, we will overcome our challenges and build our own bright and successful futures. Congratulations to the Moriah class of 2022.
We go over by altar, Mrs. Bourne, Mrs. Heller, administrators, rebellion, teachers, family, friends, and most importantly, fellow graduates of the Moriah class of 2022. I would like to thank everyone for coming here tonight to help us celebrate this important milestone in our lives. I'm so honored to speak as a representative of this remarkable grade. We've been through so much together, and while this is the end of our Moriah years, it is also the start of something new and exciting. In preparing for this speech, I looked at famous commencement addresses in real life and in fiction, and I found myself inspired most by that of Rory Moore. We've lived in two worlds during our time at Moriah. One is a world of books that consists of both secular works and the Judaic texts of Tanakh and the Talmud. In the world of books, we learn lessons about empathy with Scout in Macomb County. We witnessed George and Lenny toiling in the fields. We discovered the meaning of heroism with Mati in the Six-Day War. We helped Grace fight for justice. We sailed as refugees across the ocean with Hop. We marched for civil rights alongside John Lewis. Throughout the books of the Tanakh and the Talmud, we davened with Hannah and Shiloh. We worked in the Mishkan with Kohanim. We received the Torah of Moshe at Har Sinai. We fought Goliath with David. We built the Beit HaMikdash with Shlomo. We grappled with halachic questions alongside Tanaim and Amoraim. We dove deep into the Psukim with Rashi and Rambam. The second world we found ourselves in is the world of experiences that was shaped for us by our friends, teachers, administrators, and our Moriah family as a whole. In the world of experiences, we learned about Noach by actually boarding a teva on wheels that was parked in the Moriah fire lane. We celebrated Hanukkah by listening to the iconic Moriah Zevon song while playing Kahoot with the younger grades.
Our Yom Ha'atzmaut Chagigot allowed us to experience and express our deep love and commitment for Israel. We were encouraged to use our creativity by creating our own inventions and then presenting them at Moriah's legendary invention convention. We studied the Holocaust by interviewing Holocaust survivors. Personally, I had the privilege of interviewing and documenting the survival story of my own great-grandmother, Paulette Bader, through numbers. In this world of experiences, we have achieved so much individually and collectively as a grade. The 8th grade girls led our basketball team to bring home the championship trophy. The 8th grade boys led our hockey team to victory. Several 8th graders participated on the tour bowl team, allowing our Moriah team to win the championship. Students who are part of the Teens for Peace program discussed how even at a young age, anybody is able to make a difference. In robotics, the 8th graders built Israeli-inspired creations to present to other schools. The outstanding yearbook staff worked diligently to produce a keepsake we will all treasure forever. Several of us had the opportunity to represent Moriah as Truman Scholars, exploring the relationship between America and Israel through the Tikva Fund's inaugural middle school program. The combination of the written world at Moriah and the experiential world at Moriah provided us with the knowledge we need to thrive in the next stage of our lives and to embrace the world around us as educated and knowledgeable Jews. For Jews, Mount Moriah, Har Moriah, has tremendous significance. It is where Abraham was prepared to sacrifice his son and Shlomo's Beit HaMikdash was built. It is the site of life-changing, trajectory-setting, and formative experiences. So too, our Moriah. For the class of 2022, our Moriah has been central to the development of identities, both as individuals, as a class, and as Jews. It has been the place where we've had ups, we've had downs, we've had successes and occasional failures, we've celebrated good times and experienced challenges. In the end, though, we've made it through. We're here together as so many individuals and as one unified graduating class. Our Moriah has been for us, much like Har Moriah is to our heritage. I marvel at this class's resilience as I do at our people's. Thank you and mazel tov to all of the parents and families, and most of all, to my dear friends, Moriah class of 2022.
The Kvod Rabbi Alter, Mrs. Boyne, Mrs. Heller, Maureen Moreau, Tommy Dean, and Tommy Doe. On behalf of all my fellow classmates, I would like to start by thanking all of the administration and teachers at Moriah who have supported, guided, taught, and enabled each of us to become the students and people we are today. I also want to thank all of the families and friends sitting in this auditorium. Each of you has been instrumental in our growth and success, and we are forever grateful.
Shechianu v'kimanu b'gianu lazman hazeh. When I sat down to write this speech, all these thoughts were running through my head. Would I write about
my memories of Moriah? Would I share the lessons that I've learned here? At the core of all my thoughts was a sentimental feeling that for most of us here, today feels like an end of a story. An end of all the years we've been together at Moriah. But really, it's a new beginning.
When looking back at all our years, we see how far we've come. As a grade, we have conquered countless challenges that have ultimately shaped the people we are today. I think back to the first time I walked into more bracha and more Wendy's class in Moriah as a nervous kindergartner in a building I didn't know, surrounded by unfamiliar faces. I remember sitting down on a color rug, playing with the puzzle, trying to put the pieces into the right places. I was never particularly good at puzzles, which might be why I remember this so clearly. And I also remember feeling nervous about what I was starting and unsure about what would happen next. Well, I finished the puzzle on the first day of kindergarten, and I've gone on to solve many puzzles since. One puzzle that I've always been fascinated by, but have yet to solve, is a Rubik's Cube. I'm in awe of anyone who can solve it by lining up those 6 perfect colored sides, all 54 squares where they are supposed to be. For that reason, I've also been afraid to take a perfectly solved cube and mix it up, worried that I would never get it back the way it was. But really, isn't what this type of puzzle is all about? Putting it together, trying different configurations, and ultimately solving each side? My years at Moriah mimicked a puzzle, or Rubik's Cube. The experience was challenging throughout, but now that we have completed our time here, we are left with a strong feeling of satisfaction and accomplishment. We, the class of 2022, have spent the last 10 years at Moriah, twisting and turning, coming together to form a perfectly solved Rubik's Cube. All 52 of us working, constantly evolving and changing to come back together as one. That has been what we've achieved during our time together. Each year at Moriah was a part of the puzzle, a completed side of the cube that has been essential in our growth. We moved from early childhood as Moriah District's first kindergarten class to lower school, and it feels like just yesterday we walked into the middle school hallways feeling small and afraid. Instead of switching classes 1 time a day, it was now 9 times. Well, that wasn't until March 2020 when all our world shifted and Moriah seamlessly pivoted to online Zoom learning, and we only had to click a button to enter class. While the last few months of 6th grade were unique, the administration never let us feel like we were alone. Although we spent most of our 7th grade masked and in pods, the energy of the teachers and classmates never wavered, and our Moriah pride and love of learning continued to grow. 8th grade came faster than expected. We all had the same thought: we are the oldest. And with that came a sense of responsibility. With so much to look forward to, we enjoyed each day, one at a time, bonding over Yearbook and grade color war, enjoying our trips to American Dream, Superdome, Washington, and Hershey Park. Each experience solidifying the bonds we built and lining up all our colors in a row. Transitioning to many different high schools, our perfectly solved Rubik's Cube will come undone. While this might be unnerving for us, we should not be afraid to find our paths. The easiest way for me to explain how I see our future is through a game most of you know that I love, basketball. A little-known player, Michael Jordan, once said, "I missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded." We're often scared to take risks because we are afraid to fail. But what we have taken from my years at Moriah is that while there will be missteps and failures among the many triumphs, the lessons that emerge from the mistakes will help us grow and become more well-rounded students, friends, and members of Poly Surround. Leaving Moriah, about to embark on the next chapter in our lives at high school, I have no doubt that we are all somewhat nervous. But I think to succeed and continue to move forward and cultivate our passions, we need to seize everything we ever wanted and take all the opportunities we get. Class of 2022, let's continue to seize the moments, take the shots, and take apart and rebuild our Rubik's Cube. Mazel tov.
There is a shift happening in popular Israeli music today. Religious singers who perform songs about their values are now some of the most admired artists in Israel. Yishai Ribo is one of these famous artists. His songs draw upon Jewish sources, and many of them focus on our relationship with Hashem and the strength we draw from our emunah in Him. Our first song, Haboker Yala, written by Yishai Ribo, is an expression of these values. Throughout our lifetimes, we know that we will face challenges and disappointments. We will experience sadness and loss, frustration and failure. This song reminds us that even in the hardest of times and the darkest of nights, we must hold on to the belief that the sun will rise in the morning, the birds will sing their songs, pain will disappear, we will be able to overcome all obstacles that lie in our path, and Yemos HaMashiach will most certainly arrive.
Our second song, Home, is a medley created by the Nathanites. As recounted in this song, life takes us on many journeys, some far and some near. We see wondrous sights as we travel through Hashem's world and are privileged to explore all that He has created. We meet new people along the way and build new friendships wherever we go. We value and look forward to these opportunities, but ultimately, home is the place we are always happy to return to. Home is a place of acceptance. Home offers a sense of safety and belonging. Our homes have a story to tell. We feel emotionally connected to our homes. For each of us, the concept of home may have a different meaning, but the shared home we've come to love and appreciate is Moriah. We will never forget the memories we've created here together and the place we came from, the place we all belong. No matter how far we travel in life, no matter who we meet along the way, we will always find our way back to Moriah, our way back home.
Around
Our final song, Moriah in Our Hearts, honors our Moriah tradition and our newly established place in the ever-growing chain of Moriah graduating classes. Written by Shimona Darden, member of Moriah's class of 1981, and former Moriah faculty member Moriah Grushko, the Moriah song celebrates our love of learning, pride in our heritage, and commitment to Torah and Bidum. As we leave Moriah, our home away from home, we look back and reflect on a past that we will always treasure while imagining the bright and hope-filled future we aspire to build. Throughout our years together, we have grown to become one big Moriah family, and we will always remain connected, even as we go off to high school, because we will always have Moriah in our hearts.
The Mida Hakrat HaTov has been instilled in us for years from Moriah. We have been taught to express gratitude towards our parents, teachers, community, and friends. As we graduate, it is time for us to express our appreciation to Moriah and to give back in a meaningful way to the school that has nurtured and educated us for the past 10 years.
Last year, due to COVID considerations, we were unable to use Moriah's beautiful Beit Knesset as our Malcolm's field. Fortunately, this year, we were able to return to our shul, which has traditionally been a focal point of middle school life. It is not surprising that over the years, most class gifts to the school have been chosen as means of enhancing the Kedusha and beauty of our Malcolm's field last Sefer. Our gift to the school is in keeping with this tradition. In order to show our Hakara Tov to our soon-to-be alma mater, the members of the class of 2022 raised money to buy 2 beautiful Sifra HaOmer charts, one for each side of the Beit Knesset.
The counting of the Omer is an important mitzvah that aims at accomplishing more than a count up to Kabbalat HaTorah. On a deeper level, Spirit Omer may be viewed as a metaphor for life. The 7 weeks of counting are a period of time in which day by day, week by week, we are encouraged to grow, mature, and set new spiritual goals for ourselves. It represents a period of introspection and self-reflection as we experience our own personal Yetziat Mitzrayim and as closer and closer to Matan Torah. It represents a growth mindset that should truly apply to every single day of our lives as we continuously strive to become better versions of ourselves. It is our hope that future Moriah students will take this message to heart, that they will look at these charts and be inspired to use each day as a stepping stone towards their religious, emotional, and intellectual growth, and to internalize the lessons that Moriah imparts on a daily basis. We hope that this gift will perpetuate our legacy at Moriah and ensure that the class of 2022 has left an indelible mark. Thank you, Moriah, for all that you've taught us.
There's one more piece for a class gift. This piece is not in actuality a class gift to Moriah, but is a reflection of the deep appreciation we have all developed here over the years for the midah of Milut Chasadim. This year's yearbook was dedicated to the memory of Evan Lee, Zechron Levacha, the younger brother of our classmate Zoe, who tragically passed away in 2015. As part of our yearbook dedication and in honor of the Levy family and the world of kindnesses that the Levy family has built in Evan's memory, our class committed to donating a portion of the proceeds of our yearbook to Chai Lifeline's Evan Levy Fund. This check in the amount of $1,000 will be mailed to Chai Lifeline tomorrow. Thank you to our parents, grandparents, relatives, and friends who supported our yearbook campaign and enabled us to fulfill the pledge that we made. May Evan's legacy continue to inspire us all. Yehi Zechro Baruch. Thank you.
The Dr. Irving and W. Shulman Derech Hayashar Citizenship Award was established by the Shulman family in memory of their wonderful parents who exemplified the Derech Hayashar, the proper way, in their family, community, religious, and professional lives. Tonight, I am honored to present this award to one student who has stood out with exemplary midah and has excelled in areas of both character and judgment throughout her years at Moriah. This student exemplifies the Derech Hayashar, Zoe Levy. Zoe, we hope that every time you open this set of Hershel Mashim, you are reminded of this day and this special award. Mazal Tov.
One of the highlights for myself and my fellow 8th graders this year was the privilege of attending the school's annual dinner where we were able to represent Moriah. Sadly, I was the only member of my immediate family who was able to attend. Due to the loss of my grandmother, my mother was sitting Shiva at the same time that my parents would have been guests of honor at the dinner.
While I was sad over my parents' inability to attend the dinner, I recognized that the honor that they were receiving was because of their commitment to the Jewish community and specifically to Moriah. I am proud of the values that I see my parents living every day, values that they received from their parents, and that is how I will always remember my grandmother. While I may be the last Solomon child in Moriah, my dad recently made a promise that he would continue to support Moriah to the fullest of his ability, even after we are all graduated. He made me say that. Seriously though, Mom and Dad, your children are all so proud of you and the commitment you have to the school that we have always loved and we will always have a special place in our family's heart.
In Moriah, we have many dynamic duos, husbands and wives who give so much of themselves to the school. The Solomons are one such couple. Their tireless work and devotion to Moriah exemplify the midot we want to teach our children. They have forged a remarkable legacy here and have left the perfect template to serve as a guide for others to follow. We were not going to miss this opportunity to present them in person, our Guest of Honor Award. Sandy and Alex, please come up to the podium to accept well-deserved.
And at this time, we're going to get ready to give everyone their diplomas, just to set things up. Sam Frank Abramson. David Almo. Ben Bain. Michael Ben-Moa. Gabriel Blank. Nava Miriam Boosby. Sophie Bela Chilek. Mark E. Dweck. Amuna Faber. David Feinbach. Tamir Ilan Feldman. Jacob Solomon Fenster. Evelyn Rose Freed. Friedman. Reese Allison Friedman. Gabriel Jolie Reed Lesman. William Gallagher. Raquel Sylvie Haber. Jared Hawani. Charlotte Plano Jacob. Nessia Sophia Jacob. David Kahn. Samantha Morgan Cole. Braylon Danielle Passo. Sloan Aubrey Lazarus. Zoe Levy. Kate Juliette Lipschitz. Bennett Lissauer. Kira Rafael Lowensteiner. Akiva Jonathan Myers. Avery Moskowitz. Isabel Sophie Nadrich. Jonas Nelkin. Aiden Peacock. Noah Orly Polinsky. Alex Pomerantz. Sam Rosen. Noah Rubenstein. Matt Schefter. David Samuel Silverman. Jakey Salmon. Olivia Sloan Salmon. Noah Sosslin. Emerson May Spicer. Jason Sperber. Hannah Rose Kalinsky. Noah Wasserman. Aaliyah Lila Weber. Brielle Leah Weintraub. Avi Winslow. Jack Eunice. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you the Moriah graduating class of 2022. You are now
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us tonight. There will be a Mara in 3 minutes up on the stage. Mara in 3 minutes up on the stage. Also talk to all of our graduates.
If we can get the lights on, please. Lights on, thank you.